Patrick Jones with Rudiments and Rope, and we're in the barn today, the shop, and we're re-roping this drum. And if anybody has ever taken apart their drum, unroped it, and tried to re-rope it, you probably learned quickly that there are specific ways for the rope to pass through your eye splice here and make a nice secure connection so that the rope doesn't loosen up along the way. And then obviously after you make your what is known as a pigtail, then you need to, if you have excess rope, you could go around and you could Dutch it, you can tie it any way you want, or you can make a decorative drag rope. And today what I thought I would do is, it's kind of rainy outside, so I figured I'd do a quick video on how to tie a pigtail and then how to tie a drag rope. So the first thing that you want to do after you've gone around, you have your length of rope that has yet to complete its entire revolution here. You can see that I have on the bottom here the eye splice, which in maybe another video I'll go over how to tie an eye splice. But you'll see that the eye splice has an area for you to rope your to place your rope through. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to complete this evolution of the rope by placing it down through the eye splice. And you can see as I pull up on the eye splice, it gives me a knot here. Or it gives me an area here that I can kind of work with. So what I like to do is I like to flip the drum over at this portion. And the rope that I'm working with here is 3-strand rope. And all of the rope that you get, it has a certain twist to it. It has a direction that the rope is twisting. In one direction, if I twist it to the right, you can see that it begins to open up the 3 different strands. If I twist it the other way, you'll notice that it begins to close those strands, or compact those strands. And if I continue to twist it enough, you'll see that it kind of turns on its own. All right, and that's all that we're really going to be doing here with this eye splice, is turning it in the the pigtail is turning it in the direction of the rope, so that we can take the slack out of this last line here. So what we're going to need to do is we're just going to take this and give it a little pull. And once this is set here, I like to take my other hand and I like to hold it just like so, up against the hoop. And then I'm going to start to twist this in the same direction you can see as the rope is turning. And that's actually the start there of my pigtail. You can see it's already made kind of a pig's tail there. Now what I'm going to continue to do is I'm going to continue to keep pressure on that rope so that it doesn't come undone. And I'm just taking it up and I'm taking it over behind my first pigtail. And you'll notice here that it makes not a knot, but it kind of secures this rope behind itself. And you have that, the little curly cue, I guess you can call it, of the start of the pigtail. Now, that's not taking out all of the slack or tension from that last rope. So I'm going to go and continue again. I'm going to twist, and I'm going to take it behind the last one that I just did. You can see here it's going behind, and then all I'm going to do is pull it down again. So now you'll see I have 2 loops on my pigtail. And I can just continue doing this and twisting the rope and tucking it behind and basically growing that pigtail until all the slack starts to come out. Now I will say that before you do this, you don't want to do this on a super loose tension drum, because then you're going to have a pigtail like out to here, and that to me just looks ridiculous. So you want to make sure that you go around and overhaul the drum and make sure that it's tight all the way around. And I believe Dave Loyal has a pretty good video on how to pull a drum. So if you can search that up and take a look at that, you want to make sure that your drum rope is pretty tight all the way around before you start finishing it here. Because the last thing that you would want to do is tie your pigtail and then have all your rope extremely loose. So this is meant to be done at the very end of all of your overhauling, so that you're just finishing up basically this last length here. Once your pigtail is completed and you've taken all of the tension you wish out of the last rope here, we're left usually with a decent length of rope. And there's many different ways to finish this, like I had said previously. This is what I kind of like to do with my rope to secure it, and then make the drag rope. So once we have this final loop, we're going to notice that this length of rope is facing up towards the rest of the rope. And if I were to, tie any sort of knot up here, then that obviously is going to bring the rope back in the wrong direction. So I don't like to do that. If I were to tie it around both of these, if I'm not going and dutching everything, then I'm going to have excess tension here, or more tension here than I'm going to have around the rest of the rope or the rest of the drum, so I don't really want to do that. So all that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my length of rope and I'm going to bring it around this rope that I've already tied my pigtail on, and I'm just basically making a knot. And that's it. So now I have a nice secured length here, and this isn't going anywhere, okay? And this is going to also enable me to begin the construction of my drag rope. So I'm going to flip this drum around, and I have my nice secure here. You can see my nice secured rope in my pigtail. So the first thing that I want to do when making my drag rope is I'm going to make a loop, almost like you would learn to tie your shoe when you were younger. And I'm going to take my loop that I have. You'll notice that I kind of have two loops here. I have one in my left hand, I have one in my right hand. And that's just to illustrate that I'm going to take this around this right hand loop. I'm going to take it around and through. And what that does is that creates my first knot of my drag rope. Now, in the drag rope, you have a moving piece of rope and you have a stationary piece, okay? If I were to just pull on this bottom piece, we can clearly see that's the piece that moves. This is the piece that's stationary. And I always put the stationary part on top and I put the moving piece on the bottom so that I can pull it towards me like so. And you can do this slowly in very small increments, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rope that I have in my right hand, which is all of the excess rope, and you can see that I have a loop here in between my first two fingers. And what you're going to do is you're going to pass this rope through and basically trade positions. Now when I do that, I'm going to pull on this, and you'll notice that when I pull on the top part, because that's the part that I want to secure. This is the non-moving part. I have a rope here, or I have a knot. And then this is the part that moves. I can just kind of even that out. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this rope, I'm going to put it inside, and then I can either hold this and pull it. And you can pull the bottom part, and you can continue on like this. And just continue on with your drag rope, but it's perfect every time. I'm going to show you the way that I do it. It's usually helpful if you have somebody. I don't have anybody here today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this drum to this table, and I'll show you how I do this a lot faster. So I've clamped my drum to my table, and I did that because you're going to see you need a little bit of force to do this. And I mean, you could sit there and you could do it slowly like that. I just don't like to waste that kind of time. So you'll notice here that I have the same setup. I have the moving rope. You can see the bottom rope moves, the upper rope is stationary. And what I like to do is I like to get a nice big knot, and then I just kind of go through this. I pull it with my whole hand, and I like to go through this kind of quickly to drag my rope. And what that's doing is every time I'm pulling it through, I'm pulling it up towards the top, because this is what is going to make a nice tight knot. You don't want to have an uneven drag rope, and that's just a lot faster to do. And then once you're done with this, you can tie this on the bottom. You can put it underneath the drum and tie it to the opposite side. If it's a small drag rope, you can put it to the front, you can put it to the back. You can hide it in between here. You can do whatever you want. It's up to you. But that is how you tie a pigtail and a drag rope.